Yo, what is going on, everybody? So I got this new series, as you can see, and it's like this therapeutic thing, and it's kind of cool because I have the camera in a different position. It's like you're on my way home from work with me, kind of nice, and you can see the people in the next car, which could, I don't know, I suppose that could get interesting. So it's therapeutic in that, like, what I found was when I get out of work, I have an hour drive, so my drive home ends up being like all I think about is work. And you shouldn't just think about, like, after you get out of work, it should just be like, boom, you're home, like, you're done. And it hasn't been that, and so this is my way of addressing that. So the way it's gonna work is this: each drive home video is going to consist of a question, kind of an icebreaker question that usually have pretty interesting answers. The cool thing is you guys can participate, so it's not only me just throwing my thoughts down on video. I want to get everybody's comments and video responses so it can be this cool collaborative. And maybe you can do the same. Maybe you can do your drive home. So today's drive home question is: if you can no longer live in a house, no apartment, no house, what would you live in? For me, I mean, I immediately want to say like a tree house, but that's still a house, I feel like. I don't know, maybe, okay, no houses, no apartments, maybe you have to make your own. See, I'm still working this out here. Yeah, it just can't be a house and it can't be an apartment. You can like make it so it could be like a boathouse. No, it can't. No houses, because that's still a house. So where would you live? I know, I got one. All right, so it brings me back to this time that I went down to Florida. I was in high school. Actually, funny story of like how I got there. So I'm in high school, and of course, like, I'm living by my parents' rules and all that, and I like signed on to go on this trip with my friend and her parents, and I never told my parents. I told them like the day before I was supposed to leave. We were like sitting down to dinner. I was like, oh yeah, I gotta pack my bags tonight. They're like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to Florida tomorrow. It was like this random ass thing. So I ended up going to Florida, and the license plate in front of me says Big Fish. That's kind of cool. There's no I in fish. Anyhow, so we ended up going down there, and we went to Daytona Beach, and it was a lot of fun, and a homeless person drew our portrait. And it was interesting because this guy lived on the beach, and I realized that if I was ever homeless, I would totally just find a way to get somewhere like tropical, or, well, not, doesn't even have to be tropical, somewhere that doesn't have like a shitty New England winter where like if you're outside you could probably die. So that's what I would do. And it's a really funny story of like how we met this one homeless guy while we were down there. So it was my friend Cassie and I who, it's actually funny because now my wife is babysitting her child. It's weird how like paths cross and go off and everything, but that's what's happening. People are talking in the car next to me. So we were down there, we're like walking along like the main drag area where it's like the beach, there's little boardwalks and stuff. And this guy stops us, and he's like wearing all the stuff, and he kind of just looks like a hipster. And he asked us if he could draw our portrait. We were like, yeah, cool. Like, well, this is a neat experience. We're down in Daytona Beach, Florida, and this guy is going to draw our portrait. And I really hope I'm on the pike. I think I went the right way. Anyhow, so he sits down, and then we realize he's drinking a tall boy, like a can of beer. And he sits down like outside of this restaurant with us, and we sit there, and he starts drawing, and he wasn't good at all. It was like the worst drawing. It was like a child's drawing. And it was at that moment that we realized, oh, he's not this like artist hipster like trying to make it doing portraits on the beach. This is just a homeless ass dude. So we're sitting there, and we gave him fake names. I remember I told the guy that my friend Cassie's name was Maria, I think, and I forget what my name was. It might have been Mike, I don't know. Anyhow, I think somewhere like in my attic I still have this drawing. So the funny part about it was he was going through, like, as he's drawing, he's going through of all his, like, luggage that he has. He's like, he looks like a one-man band. Like, he's got just all the shit on his back, like a backpack. He has this metal rod that he has, like, tucked into his pants, and he was, like, telling us, like, it's for protection. I think maybe it was at that point that we were like, oh, he's homeless. So, drew our portrait, and then, like I said, we're sitting, like, at this outside restaurant. There wasn't, like, any people really there. It was just kind of empty. But one of the workers came over, and they're like, you can't bring that beer over here, man. And there we are, like, two 18-year-old kids just like, oh, like, the worker must have been looking at us just like, he got a couple more kids. Not in, like, a pervy way, just like, I don't know, maybe it never happened before. But I'm sure that probably raised some questions to this worker that came over. And the worker told him, like, get rid of his beer. And I remember he just took it, and we were sitting next to this big giant planter, like this big flower pot. And he took it with, like, one arm, and he just went like that and dumped it all up into the plant. Cool thing, he finished our drawing, gave it to us. I think we gave him like $10 or something. But that was an interesting experience, and there was a lot of homeless people down there. And I believe he was telling us that, like, he just lives on the beach. He just sleeps under the boardwalk, and that's his life. So, I think if I didn't have a place to stay, if I couldn't stay in any place, not a boathouse, not a treehouse. If treehouse was an option, that's what it would be. Swiss Family Robinson all the way. That's what I would do. And to the same point, no tents, no nothing. Let's make it no structures. You can't live in any structures. Maybe you can kind of make a structure, but it can't be too housey or too apartmenty. Get creative with it. I don't know. I'm just making up the rules as I go along. This is my ride home. Thank you for joining me.